بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أفضل المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam teaching us a very interesting concept. Grace in calamities, afflictions, tribulation. There is grace in it. Opening the doors of grace in calamities and afflictions. What can we do so that in the midst of tribulation, afflictions and negative times, doors, not one door, doors of Allah's rahmah and compassion are opened to us in such a way that it's no longer an affliction and calamity. And the Prophet ﷺ tells us this, it's in our hands. Maybe afflictions, calamities, sometimes we can't control. But you know what we can control? With calamities, there is a provision. You know, hunger, if you're hungry, there is food. If you have food, hunger is not necessarily bad, it's good. Afflictions and calamities happen, but there is food, there is nourishment for it. It only comes from Allah, it doesn't come from within me. And if we choose to open that, then it happens. It might not go away, but I'm well fed. My heart is well firm and established with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us in a hadith, من فتح له منكم باب الدعاء فتحت له أبواب الرحمة. Whoever among you, the door of dua, this is the door, has been opened for him, the doors of Allah's grace and compassion has been opened unto him. One door, if it's open to you, multiple doors of compassion and grace is opened back to you. Now, why am I saying this? We're passing through afflictions and tribulations and calamities, and you see me smiling. Because we did this survey with the Yaqeen Institute, Imam Uthman Umarji, and like one of the questions was we asked, how are people doing in the midst of this? And this is international. And we got more than 1,500 responses. And you know what we saw? More than 92% of people are intensely making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what that means? In this calamity and this affliction, 9 out of 10 Muslims are making dua for the people in Palestine. Did you see in every salah? When was the last time you remember that in every Fajr salah, every Isha salah, the whole Muslims are doing qunut? I can't recall it. It's happening, and not only here. Every masjid I go to, this is the case. Now, why am I saying this? A very interesting concept, right? We sometimes look at the people of Gaza, and the survey showed that people are inspired by them. MashaAllah, how are they doing this? The steadfastness they're showing, the patience, the tawakkul, the yaqeen. It's amazing to the extent of non-Muslims are now saying, who are those people? We want to read the Quran because this is not normal. They became a shahada, shahada with a witness to the truth of this religion. Their patience became a testimony for La ilaha illallah. And we are amazed, they're superheroes. And how can they be this way? But can I tell you something? What do you expect when 9 out of 10 of Muslims are making dua to a group of people? How would you feel if I tell you there is 1 billion Muslims every Fajr, every Isha, after Salah is making dua for you personally? You think it's going to be in vain? You know what's making them so steadfast? Their steadfastness is inspiring us, but it's our dua. When the whole ummah is making dua to a group of people, look what Allah gives them. Not necessarily a military victory, but steadfastness that is beyond anything else. Don't underestimate your dua. The ummah is united, and we see the effect of it. Dua has an effect. And this is something well established in our religion. To the extent I'll share with you this, great leaders of this ummah, like Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, the battle of Akka, Al-Barsalan in Malad Kar, the great battle that he did. Salah ad-Din used to tell people, he used to tell Taqi ad-Din, his nephew, is about to meet the Crusaders. Very difficult situation, very difficult battle. And you tell them, no. I want you to fight on a Friday. When noontime, in the time of Friday prayers. Why? I'm going to tell everybody in my kingdom, Sham, Egypt, Hijaz, the Haram, raise your hands. Your brothers are fighting, make dua for them. Fight when they're making dua for you, you will get victory. Dua is a means for that. Now, why am I saying this? A way to make me sincere in dua. I have to imagine this. Understand that every time I make dua, it has an effect. Bring to yourself an image. There are people, a person might be dying, a bomb is falling right now. Maybe I raise my hand and this just deviates and saves my brother. The hadith I quoted has a continuation. And it says the following: من فتح له منكم باب الدعاء فتحت له أبواب الرحمة وما سئل الله شيئا أحب إليه من العافية إن الدعاء ينفع مما نزل ومما لم ينزل فعليكم عباد الله بالدعاء. This is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, the most beloved thing for us to make dua for is what? Wellness, the state of wellness. Wellness for the people of Palestine, wellness for us here. But the continuation, the part I want to stress, in the dua ينفع مما نزل ومما لم ينزل. Dua is so effective regarding things that already happened. Like what's happening, it happened, right? Your dua can do something, but it already happened. It can change it. It can bring people victory. It can bring people steadfastness. It can do wonders. But also, وَمِمَّا لَمْ يَنزِلْ. And dua is also useful from decrees of Allah that did not happen yet. Now, why is that important? Again, remember our brother Ahmed not being reactive. Do we have to wait till affliction happens then we make dua? No. What I'm afraid of is that in a month or two, this thing is over and we stop our dua. Then it happens again. No. There are things that can happen that are much worse than this. And maybe our dua is preventing it. And us living in the West, I can tell you something, it's not to scare anybody. All what it takes is a few group of people, they would do something crazy out here in the name of Palestine. You know what I'm referring to. How will we be? It will be another September 11th. It can affect me personally. It can affect my kids personally. It can come here. It didn't. Do we want to be safe? يا رب آمن روعات المسلمين. اللهم احفظ المسلمين في أمريكا. اللهم احفظ أبناء المسلمين في أمريكا. اللهم استر علينا. So that it doesn't happen in the first place. So please don't forget that. Not only to make dua for things that already happened, but make dua to protect us from things that did not happen. And then the Prophet ﷺ tells us what? فَأَكْثِرُوا مِنَ الدُّعَاءِ. And I leave you with something that Salah ad-Din said in one of the most amazing situations. Battle of Arsuf. See, people think that the biggest victory of Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi was, the Battle of Hattin, which is great. He had many victories. Opening Jerusalem is great, but something happened. What do you think happened after he opened Jerusalem? What do you think Europe did? Did they say, Khalas, Salah ad-Din won, we're done? No. Europe, combined army of Europe, 22 different nations. They sent a letter to Salah ad-Din threatening him. They said, we're all coming. Our kings. Richard, Philippe Augustus, Frederick Barbarossa, the kings of Germany, France, England, 20, they're coming personally, hundreds of thousands. If you don't give Jerusalem back, we're going to take everything. Everything meaning what? Egypt, Sham, this is Europe. And they came. And they sieged the city of Akka. And Salah ad-Din resisted 3 years. They could not take one city. But after 3 years, they took the city of Akka. The city of Akka fell. And it was a terrible time for Salah ad-Din. And he did not give up. And he started to resist them. And after that, as they're heading to Jerusalem, he meets them in Arsuf. The great battle happened. And guess what? In that battle, I see it as a huge victory for Salah ad-Din. He got defeated. 10,000 Muslims died in the Battle of Arsuf. And people told him, Ya Salah ad-Din, they're going to go for Jerusalem. You know what? We need to establish the army again. You're giving too much money for scholars, students of knowledge, people in the masajid, people in the haram, people that are... Give us this money so we can get another army, so to face those people, to protect them. We want to protect Jerusalem, We want to use horses and arrows. And Salah ad-Din's response was, do you want me to take money from people that fight for me day and night by arrows that never miss and give it to you? You fight only in daytime and you fight with arrows that miss. Their dua is arrows that never miss. Then he quoted the hadith of the Prophet هل تنصرون إلا بضعفائكم? Do you think that you get victory except with the ones that are righteous and weak, that they're raising their hands? Salah ad-Din is establishing a concept here. I need both armies. Yes, I need you, but guess what? The people that are making dua for us, they have arrows that never miss. Bring that to your head. So you know, when you raise your hand, imagine a kid that's a bomb is falling. Ya Rab, goes away. Imagine that Zionist oppressor trying, and Ya Rab. It's an arrow. So bringing that, how many arrows did you fire? If you were in a battlefield, how many arrows would you fire? How much would you do? How much arrows are you firing through your dua? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes? So imagining this, believing in this, not only helps me, it's a door of rahmah for me, it's a door of rahmah for the ummah. Also, it brings victory one way or the other, either by destruction of the enemy or by making the believers steadfast. And that in itself is an ayah. It's an ayah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to open the doors of His rahmah in any situation in our life. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to make dua from things that happened and make dua to protect us from things that didn't happen. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Mu'een, the one that brings aid, to aid our brothers in Palestine. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Aziz, the Almighty, أن يعز إخوانا في فلسطين. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Wali, أن يتولى أمر إخواننا في فلسطين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك.